Walmart Plus, and you can shop online 7 hours early. Head to Walmart's Black Friday Deals for Days.
Well, welcome into Cameron Indoor Stadium for ACC Women's Volleyball. What a fun matchup of the rivalry. Carolina and Duke, two clubs that really need wins for their NCAA tournament's sake, and two teams that love to beat one another. The 124th meeting between Duke and Carolina. We welcome you inside Cameron Indoor Stadium with the former Wake Forest libero, Cameron Brooke-Weiss. I'm Evan Budrovich. Haley, these teams have a rivalry that dates back so many years. You've played in this matchup at Wake Forest. Describe the Duke-Carolina rivalry.
It's really going to be a battle of emotions that's going to come down to who can keep their composure the longest.
Carolina features a fantastic outside hitter in Schaffmaster. How does Mabry carry this offense for the Tar Heels?
Mabry is really not only a weapon at the net, but she's really become a weapon behind the service line. She gets 3.94 kills per set and is one of the top hitters in the ACC.
3.9 kills, very impressive. Countering with Gracie Johnson for Duke, the senior outside. How does she carry the load of all 6 rotations?
She is another one of those experienced, dynamic outside hitters who really has a heavy arm and is able to give her team a lot of options when she's at the net. We can see just how heavy that arm is and all of the spots she's able to hit.
Two offenses that are really fueled by their outside attack. The two best serving teams in the ACC, Duke and Carolina. And anytime the Triangle Pride's on the line, you see Coach Joe Segula, year 33 here at Carolina. 860 wins versus Jolene Nagel. She's searching for her 680th victory. Two of the 3 longest tenured coaches in this conference. And both clubs coming off big wins over NC State this week. Noting on Twitter, the matchup of the Triangle today, Carolina and Duke.
That's definitely got to make them feel good.
Mabry's Schaffmaster with our opening serve, and the best serving team in the conference gets an ace.
Schaffmaster doing what Schaffmaster does, which is get aces with that wonderful jump topspin serve. And as a libero in college, I remember being really excited when I would see jump topspin serves, because a lot of times they can be easier to pass, but not hers because she puts so much juice behind it.
Targets the back row and Sydney Yap. And Rachel Johnson goes into the net. Good hands. That is long, and Duke tonight is without one of its outside hitters, Carrie Keefe, the true freshman, undisclosed, not playing. So we noted the hitting ability of Johnson, but who else can fill those roles for Duke?
It's really going to depend on that first pass, to be honest, to get to that point, because I think playing out of system again, but playing one of the toughest serving teams in the ACC, it's not going to matter who picks up the slack on the pin if they're not able to get in system, and we haven't seen an in-system play yet in those first 3 points.
That was Liv Mogridge, the middle, out of Lutz, Florida, with the kill. Carolina was dominant on Friday night. Straight set win over Duke, and an ace. So 2 aces in this first rotation for Carolina.
50% of the points, right?
That'll force an immediate timeout for Jolene Nagel. We'll take the break as well here in set 1. North Carolina serving well in the first.
Let me show you something.
Let me show you something. It's a good life, it's a good vibe, it's a good time. Yeah, let me show you something. Yeah, let me show you something. Yeah, let me show you something.
Let me show you something.
Come seek the Royal Caribbean.
North Carolina, the best serving team in the ACC. Mabry Schaffmaster with 2 early aces.
And it looks like Duke almost has 4 people pulled back in serve receive to prepare for her serve coming up.
And with Duke running the 5-1, it's a back row setter that comes forward. Back set this time, and the roll shot is saved. What a pancake.
Wow.
That's the Carolina libero blocked. And a roof for Georgia Stavronidis. I know I was going to get that right today.
That's all right. It was interesting that they decided to leave Gracie Johnson on the right side for that play. You know, since she's an outside, she normally switches. So I guess they just wanted to get a little more depth on the right side.
Stavronidis will have to be huge. 4 blocks in her last 2 matches.
What a
Great
touch.
save and a better touch. This has to go over, and it does not. The
These
kill
are
for Taylor
two
Atkinson.
scrappy teams. I think we're going to see a lot of plays like that tonight, or today, I guess, that are extended rallies that you can't give up. You have to keep that mental focus to finish the rally.
Gracie Johnson leads this conference in aces and adds another. So serving will be a huge factor in today's game.
A little bit of a rusty start for both teams. We see kind of a breakdown in the pass here. It was a breakdown of, should it be the libero, should it be the setter? Because typically the libero takes the second ball if the setter takes the first. Or, if it's a really rough pass, the libero might just step in. So it's unusual to see an elite team have a communication breakdown like that.
And Haley, this is your strength as a libero at Wake Forest. Maddie May for Carolina. How does she help the communication on that back row?
As a libero, we call it the quarterback of the defense. It's up to you to tell everyone where they need to go, and that includes the block, which we just saw there. That ball go right between the block. It's up to you to kind of be dictating what that backcourt looks like.
And Stavronita, she's tough to stop in the middle. Hit 5'11" in her last match. She had 5 kills. I love feeding middles. It's the best part of college volleyball. Playing quick, getting your setter right to her.
Yes, definitely helps get some more one-on-one situations with the outside hitters. One-on-one just meaning one blocker to one hitter, and we love that ratio.
Duke digs out the tip shot.
What a run through.
And Johnson from the back row finds the floor. So how about this? Gracie Johnson, 14 double-doubles in her career, including her last match. What a dynamic weapon for Jolene Nagel.
And Chang is going to find her every time. When in doubt, in a broken play, you want to give the ball to the player that you trust the most to put it away.
That timeout was smart by Coach Nagel, too. Carolina had a good serving run. It breaks up a 4-0 start. And now this match, you can take a deep breath and settle in.
Exactly. Like I mentioned before the game, it's going to be a highly emotional match. It's going to be really important who can maintain that composure. And Duke has a lot of experienced players on the court who know how to do that.
Carolina goes to the slide, and the first kill for Kaya Merkler. She's had a Chapel Hill homegrown product. She's having a nice start in this first set.
I love watching the quick tempo sets. It was a quick tempo free ball pass, quick tempo set, quick tempo hit, and apparently a quick tempo missed serve.
That's the rule of thirds, Haley. It's how it works in the broadcast
Right,
world.
you win some, you lose some.
I am curious with the ace to error ratio today. These are the top 2 serving teams in the league. Each with 2 aces, each with 2 errors early on. That is long, no touch at the net. That's what Charlie Nego wanted, the 6-foot outside. Notre Dame transfer who's multiple times all ACC. Chang with a back row set that finds the floor. That's Rachel Richardson.
Fantastic swing and a great pass from the libero. That's one thing I think UNC and Duke have both served the libero a little bit heavily today. If I were them, I think I would try to keep it away from that player a little bit more because, as we know, libero is typically your best passing player, so you don't necessarily want to feed that serve to them.
Schaffmaster gets targeted and now swings. But Devin Chang coming off her 40-assist match earlier this week against NC State, but no chance on the block against Schaffmaster.
I couldn't tell if that was between the block or if that was just over Chang. That was a fantastic swing. Quick tempo set right in between the seam. And that seam is only, a hand difference. As a middle blocker, you typically want to lean into that a little bit more to make sure that block is closed. But it's a really quick set. It's tough.
That was Riley Cadle, just a step late on that close. And Johnson does get it. Oh, no, that is ruled out. No touch at the net.
That's the second time the up ref has actually ruled over this line judge, and she was shaking her head. He was shaking his head. It looks like they were having a little bit of a debate up there.
Jolene Nagel wanting an explanation.
This might be time to use a green card. UNC's starting to get a little bit of momentum. It's 7-10.
Okay, so Jolene asks our head ref. He says it's out, no touch. You have 2 challenges, and then if you go to the 5th set, you add an extra challenge.
But you also get your challenge back now if you win it.
What a nice swing by Riley Cadle on the slide.
I love how effective Duke has been using this slide ball. You see that counter flow right on the outside of Schaffmaster's block. That's really textbook. That's beautiful.
And that slide slows down the middle Mogridge from covering over. It creates that one-on-one shot that players love. Chang in system to one of the best hitters in the ACC,
Wow.
Gracie Johnson.
I love the tempo of that set. Gracie was already on her first step of her approach before the ball had even left Chang's hands. That's what you might call a go or a hut ball, and it's so great because it really beats the middle and you have another one-on-one opportunity.
Devin Chang, the UCLA transfer, playing in this 5-1 system. She's the lone setter.
Oh.
And she lost the joust, but the points kept alive. Carolina in system. Great dig by Richardson. And another save for Schaffmaster. Off hands and toe on the block. Back-to-back kills for Johnson.
Now that was an earned rally. I loved the scrappiness from both teams. Let's take a look at this dig. One hand, kind of playing rotation and perimeter defense. You know, right now both teams are playing perimeter defense, so they typically have the middle back just chill in the middle of the court, where she was shifting over to take that ball. It was just really well executed.
Babbage goes near side. And another kill for Schaffmaster. 2 kills on 3 swings. She was fantastic against NC State. Hit 400, and for an outside hitter, if you're above 250 plus, that's a really good volleyball play.
That's pretty much the cutoff, exactly. If you're hitting 250 or above as an outside hitter, you're doing your job and you're doing it well. Not to mention she's putting in work behind the service line as well.
And Haley, if you're doing your job, you have 15 digs and avoid those
Yes.
kills. How about the block for Schaffmaster?
Wow.
My goodness, the pause of the girl in pink hair is on fire today.
I love it. I know it makes her easy to spot for us, which is nice if we can't see her number.
Carolina had a recent pink out night to promote cancer awareness, so she dyed her hair pink.
Ooh.
But that's an overplay. She has to let that ball go vertically up and allow the setter to
She
play
got a
it.
little excited. Yeah, you see her coyly smile a little bit. She definitely got a little excited on that ball.
And that's a play Joe Segula's fine with, right, as a coach?
It's an aggressive error. You can't really be too awful mad at a player for making a smart, aggressive error.
Devin Chang to the service line. Great in-system swing for Sky Howard. The middle out of Charlotte. She's going to be important for this offense. Had 8 kills against NC State.
Absolutely, and she adds that extra depth to the offense so that Duke can't just camp out on the outside hitter.
We asked Jolene Nagel, how many times will you double Schaffmaster? She said every time we can, which means middles will be wide open in this match. Richardson can fly out of the building.
Wow.
Great swing to the back corner.
And we've been through a whole rotation now, so both teams have a good idea of what to expect from the other team. We've seen every possible matchup so far, aside from, you know, bringing in some new subs. So I think we're going to start to see people start to pick up on those patterns and execute the game plan.
Timeout, North Carolina. Haley, we saw the timeout earlier from Duke. How have the Blue Devils settled themselves into this match?
They've done a really good job controlling the first pass, and even when they didn't control the first ball, they've done a good job keeping a tempoed set to one of those pin hitters so that they're still able to put a nice swing on it that's around the block.
We told you the importance of the rivalry, right? Duke and Carolina. But from a national tournament perspective, these teams are both 60 or lower in the RPI. You need all the wins you can get in the next 3 weeks to make that at-large resume.
Exactly. That's why I really wish they had an ACC tournament. I know they used to back in the day, but it can be so motivating to maybe get that tournament win bid.
And it's scary if you're Louisville and Pitt, the top 2 teams, to possibly lose a #1 overall seed.
Exactly. I think it just gives a little pep in the step of some people that might be kind of borderline. But it's kind of unusual because the ACC has sent up to 8 teams to the NCAA tournament before. So it seems like, you know, the RPI, it's just a stark difference this year from what we've seen in the past from the ACC.
And here we sit in the final 4 weeks of the season, so all the wins you can get late are huge. Carolina, you talk about ranked opponents. Georgia Tech, they're really good. Louisville, #2 in the country. And Florida State's right now 4th in the conference, so you could climb up with some big wins.
You absolutely can, and I believe, who were we talking about prior to the game? I think it's Duke has a pretty difficult upcoming schedule as well. They're going to be seeing Louisville here very soon. They're going to be needing to put up some big numbers to make a name for themselves in the conference.
And Haley, we showed you that schedule, but the number of note, Carolina's 0-5 against the top 25. So the quality wins haven't been there yet for the Tar Heels.
I think today they're only worried about one quality win, and that's against the Blue Devils.
Yeah, those rivalry wins are worth a little more this late in the season. Final matchup will be right before Thanksgiving, November 23rd, back at Chapel Hill.
Ooh.
Here's a bump set from the back row to Richardson and dug out by May. Underwood skies it in the air.
Ooh.
And a great save by Howard. In system, Howard hits off hands.
Ooh.
Chang goes middle. Babbage to Howard down line for the point.
That's the first time I've really seen her open up and go thumb up to push it towards the right back, which I think is brilliant. You know, having your setter Chang back row, put some pressure on her, make her be a defender.
Anita Babic, the freshman setter at a Corona del Sol High School in Phoenix. She'll be crucial as that service error gives it right back. Both these teams run a 5-1, and for folks who don't understand that, that means one setter, which makes it hard defensively for those setters too.
It's definitely difficult for a setter because if you do get that first dig, right, you're relying heavily on your libero to now run that offense for you. Looks like Chang cheated a little bit. She ran up a little bit. Maybe needs to stay back in defense, but setters want to release. The second they know the ball's not coming to them, they want to get up at the net, so in case their passers do pass it really tight, they can still be in command of that offense.
Whereas in a 6-2 offense, you can sub in a new setter in the front row rotation. There's a block at the net. Good hands from Babic. So a setter puts her hands on it that time.
Yeah, it happens. Well, and this is a really, really tough rotation. If you take a look, let's take a look at this replay really fast. Just a beautifully set block. That's really tough to get around.
The SIDs will stat that a solo block for Babic, and she'll love it.
Ooh, oh, setter taking a free ball is not necessarily what you want.
Here comes Chang back in system. And off the net, what a save.
Little
Punch
beat
back
shot.
to Chang. And that's down. Richardson's had a nice first set. 4 kills, hitting 200.
It's a really good thing that Duke got out of that rotation. What I was going to say is they were in rotation 3, which is the toughest one for the setter because they're back row. They're all the way on the left side of the court. They have to run around to the right side of the court and flip, which is just a whole lot of commotion. Now they're in rotation 4, setter's front row, which might be a little bit of a blocking liability, but it's a little bit easier for the setter to potentially command that offense and move fluidly.
There's an overpass. Can Duke take advantage? There's a bump set from Maddie May, the libero, and dug out Richardson, but that goes out of play.
It looks like Richardson is shifting over for that outside attack, which I like seeing. It's going to make a little bit of a liability in the middle of the court, so it looks like Duke must be setting up their block to take the middle of the court, which is a lot of pressure on the block, but they should be able to handle that, especially if they see that the libero is putting up the ball. You kind of know who the libero is going to set. You can only do so much with a pass set or a bump set.
Chang on the slide set. Oh, I think that might have been in. But there is a tip at the net, so point Duke.
I'm looking to see if Coach Segula is going to have anything to say about that. What a finish.
Shaftmaster get her fingers on this? That's the question.
Looks like no argument, though, really, from either coach on that, which is kind of surprising.
17-15 in this first set. Carolina's had a ton of success in this rivalry. 7 of the last 8 the Tar Heels have won.
Wow, that was elusive.
Good dump set. Now Babic.
What a touch.
And Shaftmaster finds the floor. That's her 3rd kill.
Underwood tried to give it a little tap, but just not quite enough.
What makes Shaftmaster so difficult to stop?
I think it's the fact that she has such range in her arsenal, and when she goes up, it doesn't seem like she gives it away like most hitters do. They might hit where they face, or they might show early what they're doing with their hand. she's experienced. She's, this is not her first trip to the rodeo. She knows what she needs to do to put it down.
The reigning freshman of the year in the conference leads to a block. Babbage has been huge at the net.
That takes a lot of pressure off your defense, especially right now. If you take note, Carolina doesn't have their libero in, right? Your libero can only serve for one of your middles, so you have one of your players back. And so it's going to be really helpful if you can help out that defense back there without your best defender.
And this server, Parker Austin, who gives one away, she actually leads the ACC in aces per set. It's kind of unique with her size as she subs out in rotation.
It's nice, though. I hated serve receiving against a really tall player because they have such a great angle on the serve.
Schaffmaster goes down line and gets the kill. So she's hitting 300 in this first set. That's a good number if you're Carolina.
Very good. And you can see Richardson every time she's bolting to the line to try to take it, but Schaffmaster, is likely going to make an adjustment here soon heading into the second set, but Schaffmaster's arm is still so fast. Even with the adjustment, it can be really difficult. Ooh, that's up in the air.
Saved
it's still
by
live.
May.
Wow.
Now a tip in the middle.
Lots of tipping. They're going to want to get back in system fast.
That is shot long by Gracie Johnson. So Carolina's 4 points from the set.
May has such a high volleyball IQ. She was really able to read that and make that reaction.
You love the effort there from Maddie May, the true freshman from Winterville. She grew up in Pirate Country, D.H. Conley High School in Greenville, and now moves across the state to Carolina. This is her first experience of this rivalry matchup, and that's a huge dig.
Yeah, being from the area or somewhat from the area, you don't need to be told what it means to be playing in this match. It's a historic matchup. It's an emotional matchup, and it, really, again, comes down to who can be composed, who can still play like it's any other game.
Carolina and Duke, can't say much better about this one. 124 matchups all time. And with an under-woman squad for Duke, it will be curious, can Carolina, with the advantage of Schaffmaster, with the health, can they be on the pressing front offensively? They're hitting 360 in that set. It's a tough challenge for Duke.
Yeah, and looking at it, it's pretty balanced as a whole, aside from that hitting percentage, as you mentioned, with North Carolina. But I do think North Carolina is doing a little bit of a better job out of system, being able to still convert into kills.
Two of the great coaches in this conference, Jolene Nagel and Joe Segula, talking back and forth. Jolene was part of Joe's staff back in the late 80s. That was neat to learn this week about their connection to one another.
It is a small world in the volleyball community, as you probably know, Evan.
Well, it's a small world with you here today, Haley, former Wake Forest libero back in your tenure.
Right? It's definitely, I got the opportunity to play against both these coaches. They're very, very decorated and very respected in the ACC. Everybody knows when it's a matchup that you're going to have to not only outplay their team, but you have to outplay their coaching staff.
Devin Chang goes out to Johnson. Oh, nice swing. That went to the back row and caught by surprise, Anita Babbage.
I'm not sure where that hit her. Let's take a look. Okay, outer elbow.
Typically, as that back row player, looking for the tip shot, right? Not the bullet one through the block.
Yes, a lot of times you're right back, even if it's a defender. You might have them scoot up a little bit if it's a nice closed block to just scoop up the tip, but there was no tip to be found. That was a great swing.
Following that service error, Carolina 3 points from the set. And we noted Schaffmaster, 2 aces already in set one. Chang with all the options goes backside.
It's up.
Oh, pancake and over by May.
Wow.
Another tip. Nearly a double touch for Modric. Chang goes middle. That goes over. It's in play for Carolina. And into the block.
What a block by Yap. Fantastic job closing, reading the play. We'll take a look at this pancake. And May sending it over. I was a little nervous they were going to call it a double. I don't think it was a double, but sometimes up refs love when they see any sort of spin on that second or third ball to immediately call it. But just because it's ugly does not necessarily mean that it's illegal.
This sounds like you're saying punters are people too with liberos in their save. I love that conversation. Carolina now 2 points from the set on the kill by Liv Mogridge. Chang tight to the net, and the dump set's put down. That's Kaya Markler with set point.
That's really tough. This is not the time that you want to have a serve-receive breakdown if you're Duke, especially, you know, obviously this set might go in favor of Carolina, so you want to have really great momentum going into that next set.
Set point, Tar Heels. That goes out.
Whew, that was a nerve-wracking call, huh?
Especially with the two top serving teams in the conference. You never know if that's going out for sure, even though your backline player says, out, don't touch it.
And it's unusual for liberos, I feel like, to err on their serve, especially on game point.
Swing for the set. Nice save by Johnson. Babbage goes backside. Another Johnson dig. Tight angle.
Ooh.
Was there a net violation? No. Point Duke.
It's looking like Chang is really going to need to find someone else than just setting the outside pin. UNC really seems to be camping up and causing, you know, the outside to really just have to tip, 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 tip.
Babbage goes to Howard.
And she does.
Off the block, you know, to changing up her tempo.
Yep.
Tries it again, and the kill for Richardson. That's her fourth.
Exactly, and I think part of what made that so successful was because she had fed the pin so many times. So finally, when she threw it back to Richardson 2 times in a row, it really kind of, you know, affected the flow of the game.
Fourth set point for Carolina. Chang goes near side. And a touch of the net. Oh. Point Duke. They're back within 2.
Atkinson is lucky. Atkinson is really lucky, and that's a timeout by Carolina.
Taylor Atkinson, who's back for the first time in 3 matches. That's a big presence for Duke on the outside, especially with the loss of Carrie Keefe for today's game.
I know Duke has been battling injuries all year long, but I mean, it's a long season. That's something that kind of comes with it. You're very lucky if you go a whole season without having anyone get injured.
Jolie Nagel put it best. She said, we just have to keep getting those healthy players better, because I never know who's going to be healthy each match, and that's the tough part of being this late in a college season.
Exactly, and here we can see Mike Shaw kind of talking to the Carolina team, and if I'm talking to them, I'm saying this first set is really important to win. You do not want to put yourself at a deficit. You've worked to keep the lead this whole entire game. Giving up the momentum at the end of set 1 going into set 2, even if you do win this set, is not going to put a very good taste in your mouth and make you set up for success in the duration of this game.
Duke and Carolina to close out set 1. Couldn't have asked for much better. We noted Carolina's tough stretch coming up. Duke also has to take care of some injuries. Madison Bryant's remained out for at least the foreseeable future. We noted Keefe not playing tonight. And with Atkinson and Johnson back, some of those arms start to return for the Blue Devils.
It's really tough, but again, this is a really talented group of girls, and everybody has to be ready to hit the court and potentially hit the court in positions that they might not be used to playing.
Can Nikki Underwood, the Manhattan Beach, California product, serve out the set for Duke? Babbage goes outside. Carolina swings for the set, but a block. Riley Cadle.
What a point.
Because Cadle pogoed one-on-one. That's a hard solo block.
That's a really tough solo block. I know that Underwood is probably taking a deep breath on defense.
Set point terminated. That's Charlie Nego. She had the one-on-one, and Carolina takes it 25-23. We'll go to set 2. Both teams hitting well offensively, but the Tar Heels pull it out with Nigo and company. We head to set 2 when we return.
It's Tim Tebow in a Verbo, where you get the whole place to yourself. So it's always just you and your Gators.
Thanks to Talkspace, Phil sparked a new beginning. He's starting over with a little nudge from his therapist, Matthew. Talkspace. Get personally matched today with a therapist who can support you in starting a new chapter.
North Carolina takes set 1, 25-23. First of 2 dynamic matchups between clubs that know each other oh so well. Carolina was dominant with Schaffmaster in that first set, and Duke, to their credit, playing undermanned with some injuries. Rachel Richardson steps up with 4 kills. Gracie Johnson leads the charge, and we know she's all dynamic with 4 kills herself. Haley, what was your biggest takeaway from that first set?
I would say starting out hot. I think Duke got themselves into a little bit of a hole at the beginning, and so I think if they were to play a little bit tougher at the start,
right,
it's going to be a much more exciting match.
You fall behind 4-0. You fight off 5 set points just to get to 24-23. That's an emotional toll on a team that can sometimes be hard to overcome.
I think, though, because they left the set with so much good momentum, they're going to be in a really great spot heading into this second set. And if I'm Carolina, that would worry me a little bit. You need to keep serving tough if you're Carolina. Keep taking care of those long-winded plays, and you're going to be fine.
We showed you that scoreboard bump, 9-1 when winning the first set. The lone loss was a 5-set defeat against Syracuse, who's having a heck of a year, 4th in the ACC.
Yeah, that's a respectable loss.
That match went 5 on ACC Network just last Sunday. And Coach Joe Segula said afterward, we have to find ways to finish out tough matches. That woman will certainly help. 4th in points in the conference, Mabry Schaffmaster.
And it looks like, looking at the hitting percentage, Carolina had a .278 hitting percentage, whereas Duke only had a .182. And it's easy to look at that and say, well, the offense just needs to do better. But it's so much more than that. It's executing the free balls. There were so many free balls that weren't executed. It's doing a better job on serve receive. They had some overpasses that kind of got dunked. They had some passes that brought them off the net, and then it puts the hitters in a really tough situation. So it's easy sometimes to look at the stats in a one-dimensional way and say, well, the hitters just have to do better. It really comes down to that first touch. And I might be a little biased. I was a libero, but it really is important to improve that first touch.
So you're noting then the 7 digs for Mabry Schaffmaster, not the 4 kills. That's her presence on the back row. First swing of the second set is down for a point. Very close call on the line, but a point for Carolina. That's Charlie Nigo. And I think her facial reaction tells the story there.
Yeah, I think she's ready to bring some electricity.
Nigo terminated set 1 with her kill. Now Cheng with a tough set.
Oh.
And she missed her target.
That's
that
really hard
touch.
to time.
Yeah,
she was really low. It was a really low pass, so when she went to set it has to be a quick tempo set, so the middle can't really figure it out. That was a tough decision, I think. Ooh.
That goes into the net for Maddie May. Back to the middle conversation. Duke has battled injuries all year, but Stavronidis being back, we noted her 2 blocks in the first set. They need a presence in the middle to complement their outsides.
Exactly. Again, I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. Getting more one-on-one opportunities is really going to help Duke stay lethal at the net.
How about that color of blue? The block from Riley Cadle. That's another middle stepping up.
That's exactly what Duke needs to be doing at this time, is get those big, exciting plays that really just kind of are a shot in the arm for the team.
Duke entered this match 8th in the ACC in blocks per set, but they've had more presence today.
Ooh.
May has to bump set from the back row, and Howard shoots it long.
A little low on the set for May. I did see UNC in practice, or in the warm-ups for the game, practicing having the libero dish out a really nice tempoed ball, but I think when you're that out of system, she really didn't give her right side very much time to adjust.
That morning serve and pass, a fun hour in the pregame.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Good block.
Oh.
That's Kaya Merkler getting her hands on it.
That was a tough decision by Cattle. I think it's tough. You want to put it over. You want to be aggressive, but everybody's set right up on you. That's a great serve.
Now on the slide, May saves it. And Schaffmaster ruined a great dig, at least for the moment.
I like that she wanted to put a swing on it, though, because if you're giving a free ball to a team at this level, more than likely they're going to shove it down your throat. So if you can give a little down ball, I feel like, again, it's an aggressive error, and I can live with those.
Here's Sydney Yap to serve. Good float serve. And the Schaffmaster rolled it into the net.
Back to back.
Well, that's where she tries to put a little too much flip on it, that roll shot.
Too cute with it, yeah.
That's hard from 11, 10 feet back.
It could be very effective, you know, when people are swinging from the back row. Defense typically digs in their heels a little bit, so that would be a good idea, but maybe not right after an error.
Another block for Cagle. What a nice second set.
And it looked like Nygo, one thing that she was doing was they were trying to run a really fast-tempoed set to the outside, and it was kind of mistimed a little bit and just let the Duke block set up on it pretty easily.
Great slide
Wow.
call. That's Merkler.
That was beautiful.
Merkler, second team All-ACC last year with a great kill here.
Really high IQ. Look at the gap in that block. It was pretty much a one-on-one situation.
She thrived when these teams met last year, hit .522 from the middle position. Schaffmaster rotates back in, and a great save by Duke. How about that swing? Behind her back, a cross-court downline swing.
I'm not surprised. Schaffmaster loves her line. I would love to see a hitting chart of what she's hit today, because I feel like 80% of them, from the outside at least, she's flipping her thumb up and she's putting it on the line.
We saw that a ton in set one, beating the block down line. Richardson goes cross-court and hits it long.
Well, and I think that's partially why we can see there's been, you know, Duke flip their rotation. So before they had Richardson in the back row and Schaffmaster was in the front row. Now they're both in the front row at the same time, so it's a completely different look on defense. So it might take Duke a little bit of time to figure out how she works all over again.
That is ruled out.
She is not going to be happy about that. That was close. That was a great swing.
Our R1 with the call, head referee. Cadle doesn't argue it very much as she checks with Jolene Nagel.
Oh, that's a green card.
Okay, so a challenge here.
First challenge of the day. I'm excited.
As a reminder, 2 challenges each coach gets. You win the challenge, you keep it. If the match goes 5 sets, you get a bonus challenge that you can use in the 5th set.
Let's take a look. We're looking for some finger action maybe. Oh.
I don't necessarily see it.
I do not.
I love that angle, though. Great slash camera from our ACC Network crew. Get you right on top of the net.
Yeah, that was really helpful. Yeah, I didn't see any finger movement. Obviously nothing from the defense in the back. So, again, initial ruling was no touch.
Check that left hand of Schaffmaster.
I'm looking at her pinky. Yeah, I didn't see any motion. Yep. I'm not seeing anything, so I think that call should stay. But it's nice, too. A lot of coaches end up using the green cards as additional timeouts. You don't necessarily want to burn a timeout, so throw in a green card, see what happens.
Joe Segula would love to see his club return to glory of 2016. They won 29 matches. You see that really close angle.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any motion.
Okay, maybe I'm paralysis by analysis here, but the pinky finger on that left hand, does it bend back just a smidge?
See, I don't think so. Because when they showed the back version of it, right behind her, there was no pull, there was no anything, so I'm not really sure. Let's see. Oh, I saw clapping.
Yeah, the call's overturned.
Wow.
Well, if you watch it 11 times, it's hard to tell, right? But the call does go to Duke. Ruling is a touch of the net, so Joe Segula down to 1 challenge. And an ace for Richardson. That caught May off guard.
That was kind of funky. It happens every now and then. You kind of are thinking about playing it maybe, especially you see they're hiding a player in the back. Sometimes that honestly gets kind of weird.
It looked like May was trying to let that ball go out, and it almost hit her by surprise. Whoa, a left-handed swing for Schaffmaster.
Lots of slappy balls right now.
She is crafty. Chang back set. Now Carolina from the back row rolls it over. How about Gracie Johnson getting involved with her 5th kill?
She's starting to like her line as well. That was a fantastic swing. Looked like she only had 1 true blocker on her. Let's take a look. No, she did have a double block. Good for her. And she was still able to find the outside line with only inches given to her.
We note the service errors, right? Because these are the 2 best serving teams. When you're the road squad, Haley, there's more incentive to have those serving errors, right, versus the home team? You want to be a little more aggressive on the road?
I don't know. We were never told anything about road versus home aggressiveness. It was more about who you're playing. If you know you're playing a team that has 2 outside hitters playing 6 rotations, we want to put as much pressure on them as possible and make them be volleyball players. Make them pass every single ball and swing on every single ball. Make them be real, real tired and sore after the game.
Good tip shot, and Johnson with back-to-back kills.
That's tough. That's tough. And you had someone in the back who's not necessarily a defender at that time. So, you know, you have Austin in the back. She's not necessarily ready to pick up tips and be that person. So I think Carolina's going to be really poised at this point to get some digs now.
That was a promising serve by Duke. Now Chang comes forward.
Wow.
That's 4 touches on Carolina. So here's Johnson in this rotation becoming dynamic.
Definitely showing off her arsenal, and I like that that's scored because we really haven't seen a ton of tips and rolls scored today, and I think that's because people have only been using them when they have to, when it's, you know, the set's not there and whatnot, but I think it's really most effective when you could crank the ball and you decide to roll.
Gracie Johnson with that kill, 965 in her career, make it 66.
She makes it look easy, doesn't she?
Oh, we've seen cut shots, roll shots, deep corner shots, and a timeout.
And now timeout shots.
Yeah, I love that. We'll take the timeout here. Early in set 2, Duke showing signs of life, led by their all-ACC hitter, Gracie Johnson.
Can you live with knowing you never tasted McRib sauce? You have until November 20th to decide during the McRib Farewell Tour. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
I figured Ramsey's the Ram would sneak into Cameron Indoor somehow for this fantastic matchup. North Carolina and Duke, longtime rivals. 124 meetings on the hardwood here in volleyball. And Schaffmaster blasts one to the back row.
That's going to be her, 6th kill of the day? So now she's leading for Carolina in kills. Carolina's been really, really balanced, though. We see the top kills, 6 kills, then 5, then 4, then 2, then 2. Whereas Duke has a little bit more of a discrepancy. We have, you know, Gracie Johnson at 8. Next is 4, 3, 3, 1. So Duke doesn't necessarily have as balanced of an offense.
Certainly helps when Johnson continues to hit well. That's her 8th kill.
Yeah, if she's putting it down, there's not really a problem with it, right? Right on the outside of that middle blocker. Fantastic swing.
Gracie has a heavy swing load, 22 kills against NC State on Wednesday, but took 50 attacks. That'll be common for her the rest of the year with the injuries for Duke. Schaffmaster blasts one off the block and lands it in. So she's heating up with 7 kills. Not to mention, you are a libero, 8 digs, so nearly a double-double.
Right, nearly a double-double. And she's serving in what might be one of the more dynamic rotations for Duke when they have Gracie Johnson on the right side for 1, and then they have 3 hitters total in the front row.
Haley, how important is this next 5 points for Duke? Because they can ill afford to fall behind 2 sets.
I think it's going to be really tough for them to come back if they fall behind in these next few points. So it's going to be really important to clip this service run pretty short because Schaffmaster does a good job getting points on her serve.
The top 2 serving teams in the conference with a roof. Atkinson got her hands on it, and in her first match back in 3 weeks, that's a big block.
That was a fantastic block. I think that's going to be 6 blocks for Duke this match. And Carolina's only had 3 blocks, so Duke really is out blocking the Tar Heels as it stands.
I love a good swing block, by the way. Good form by Atkinson, who forces that shot wide. It's more of a men's style block where you jump up and swing, but that's become common in the women's game in the last 5 years.
Yeah, even when I played in college, it was pretty much the preferred method because think about when you swing your arms to the momentum of getting you up, it's kind of like an approach jump, right? And you can get a little bit higher, get your hands a little bit further over the net, a little bit of a better press. So I've heard.
Well, you had a few blocks in your career, I imagine.
My little high school blocks, a couple of those.
No doubt. As a back row player at Wake Forest, Haley Brooke-Weiss with this Evan Budrovich here from Cameron Indoor Stadium.
Wow.
And a good block for Carolina.
They must have heard me say that they had less blocks than Duke, so now they're picking it up, clearly.
These are not 2 teams that are heavy-handed coming in. Bottom 3rd in the ACC in blocks. Right now, Maryland leads the country 3.5 blocks a set with Raynell Jones. She's excellent at the net. The All-American middle. And another block for Nigo.
I'm telling you, they heard me say something. If I'm Duke at this point, you're getting red. Your offense is becoming a little one-dimensional. The pins are getting picked apart. You need to improve that first pass so that you can get the middle back involved.
Richardson with a great cross-court shot.
Or just let Richardson get a big kill and call it a day.
So on this rotation, Cato comes in at the middle. She has 3 blocks already. Babbage goes backside. Howard launches one out of bounds.
A little bit of a waffle, probably just hit her hand wrong. It happens every now and then. But again, it looks like, I could be wrong, but it looks like that UNC is actually in rotation 3 because they have Lib in area 1. They have the setter running across the court. So this is a really good time for Duke to capitalize, and unfortunately a missed serve. That's tough.
Duke and Carolina each with 5 service errors.
That's a lot of free points. It's definitely a lot of free points. You typically don't want any more than 2 missed serves per set.
Something to note, Carolina, who leads the conference in aces, they had 2 in the first 5 points. None since, as Richardson gets the kill.
Richardson is definitely starting to heat up. That is for sure. It looks like right now that was her 6th kill. Only behind Gracie Johnson right now. So again, very, very pin heavy for Duke. I think it would be really advantageous for them to get their middles involved.
There's an overpass that goes out. That's an ace for the Blue Devils.
May's having a little bit of a serve-receive breakdown right now, which is really tough as a libero. That's your bread and butter, so it happens every now and then, but it can be really stressful. I wouldn't be surprised if they started picking on her a little bit more, even though she's the libero.
So Schaffmaster takes that serve. And the roll shot dug out by Yap. Richardson on the tip. Wow, that was a wide open slide saved by Carolina. And a point. So it starts with May and it ends with Nigo.
I loved that roll because she went up pretty heavy. She went up with a really strong approach and was really tricky about it. I don't think that she had to do that swing, and that's what made it so effective. Ooh.
I love a setter that's creative. That's a nice play from Devin Chang.
And once you establish the dump, as your pin defenders, your left back and right back, you have to stay in. You're supposed to stay up kind of at the 10-foot line and then go back to your base, and they caught him looking.
Timeout, North Carolina. We noted the importance of the last 5 points for Duke. Well, they've won that stretch. Now 5 points from the set. A Carolina team that's playing as well as it has all year. Wins in 3 of its last 4. It does make you wonder, are we destined for one of those matches that could be 25-23 every set, the way these teams play?
That's just what the studio wants, right? All the people working the game.
Wink, wink behind the curtain. But I will say, it has been highly entertaining.
It's amazing volleyball every time these two teams step on the wood. I mean, historically speaking, Carolina has been a top contending team. I think, what was it? They went to the Elite Eight in 2016.
With a 29-4 record.
Yes, I think that was the last. I was playing in college in 2016. I was a sophomore. And remember, it was very intimidating to have to play Carolina because you knew they're not just here to beat us. They're here to beat everyone. They are not just preparing for the ACC. They're preparing to take a national championship. And that might not necessarily be the case today, but you wouldn't know it based on, you know, the intensity that they're bringing to this game because it is that in-state rival.
So Carolina was one of 6 teams in the conference to make the tournament last year, the NCAAs, but they had a quick exit, a first-round loss to Tennessee. You think back to last year, Pitt and Louisville go to the Final Four. The ACC had never had 2 teams in the Final Four. That could be a big boost for this conference moving forward.
It's definitely a huge boost. And with Tennessee, actually, their head coach, and I can't recall her name off the top of my head, she used to be one of the assistant coaches for Carolina, at least while I played. So that was really exciting as well. I mean, the ACC produces not only fantastic players, but fantastic coaches.
And these are 2 of the legends, 2 of the 3 longest tenure. Jolene Nagel.
Wow, what a cover.
Nice job by Nego. And an equally impressive save for Underwood. Chang goes backside and down for the point.
I'm not over that coverage play by Nego. I know that it didn't go in their favor, but with these 2 teams heating up at the net, on the block, having that great defensive play, it's really fantastic. We can take a look at the slide here. I hate that the middle didn't at least put her arms up. You kind of get stuck.
Oh my goodness, Schaffmaster.
That might be the hardest kill I've seen this match so far.
Now she's one-on-one with the setter. She has the verticality, and this is a wide open court.
I don't know. I thought she was one-on-one, but it looked like she did have a double block. It was just late. She makes everything look one-on-one, doesn't she?
Oh, with her ability, 4th in the conference in points.
Wow!
Whoa, what a save!
That's going to be good.
Overbeck kept it in.
And a swing. Wow.
That goes off the hands of Schaffmaster. So how about Duke? 2 reckless, wild plays, and they've won both of them.
That's a big difference from the first set. Take a look at that. One-handed play, a calm second ball by Nego. And I love that Schaffmaster puts a swing on all these out-of-system balls. So many outsides would just set it over, pass it over. But she says, you know, I'm going to put a little sauce on it.
And May couldn't catch up to the heat of Gracie Johnson for her 10th kill.
Nigo couldn't save that one. She just saved one way on the right, then she gets run way on the left. That's a lot. That's a lot for one person.
Duke is 2 points from the set.
Duke has made this set look pretty easy.
Not until that swing. Schaffmaster down line. She's up to 9 kills. So our stars coming in, Johnson and Schaffmaster, have lived up to it.
Absolutely. Let's take another look at that kill. Again, she burns up the line, and you can see that how Duke is running their defense is they're pushing their person on the line up in defense. They're shifting over their middle back. You have Richardson in the back, who should be pretty familiar with playing against Schaffmaster now. Let's take a look. You can see that shift. And it works.
So Johnson in system on the back set terminates the point. Gracie Johnson in double figures for the 10th straight match.
Yeah, it looks like in this set, Duke is hitting a 276. Carolina's hitting an 030.
It's a big difference. Set point for the Blue Devils here at home. Chang with a nice serve to May. And the set continues. Mogridge goes down the pipe.
And May is playing with a little bit of experience. Carolina's libero, she had a little bit of a breakdown in serve receive earlier in this set, and now she's been passing dimes, and it really shows because she's able to get the middle involved.
Duke swings for the set. This is kept up. May flips it over. Second chance kept alive.
That's going to be real tight.
Duke for the set. Antenna touch. Duke takes set 2.
What a fantastic last point of that monumental second set.
That was Taylor Atkinson putting this set away, and we're all even at 1 apiece. I tell you what, 2 scrappy teams that are separated by a couple of miles, they can battle it out. When we come back, our halftime and gearing up for set 3. Duke and Carolina all tied at 1 here in Durham.
Spicy buns, spicy sauce, spicy seasoning, spicy jalapenos, ooh, spicy fries. Boy, Arby's getting loose with the spice on the new Diablo sandwiches and fries. Arby's, we have the meats.
Welcome back to Durham. North Carolina and Duke all knotted at 1 set apiece. And anytime these teams meet, it's going to be highly competitive. But today we have been in for 2 fantastic sets.
We definitely got our money's worth.
We welcome you inside the broadcast booth. Former Wake Forest libero Haley Brooke Weiss. I'm Evan Budrovich. We've seen both teams have great sets in 1 and 2. What'll be the biggest difference in the set 3 through the rest of the way?
I think what we've really seen in this last match was a breakdown for the Carolina offense a bit, and Duke really stepping it up. Duke was able to improve their serve receive and really make it difficult for Carolina to convert, and I think it put Carolina back on their heels because that wasn't the same team that they played in the first set, so now they need to adjust their offense, they need to adjust their defense and plan accordingly.
And both these teams had so much success early. You do wonder in sets 3 through 5 who can make that final push. We noted the serving early on, and here's some big numbers from the first 2 sets. Duke's hit percentage jumped up a ton, up to 281 in that second set. It boosts the team totals. And then it's kind of interesting, Haley, because the serving errors are picking up, but the team's offenses are also following.
True, it seems like when they're able to pass well, they're able to pass well. And so looking at this as well, I think one thing that's important to look at is Carolina went from a 278 in the first set for hitting percentage down to a .059, which gives us this average here of the 171. So it's a little bit deceiving when you look at the numbers, but Duke was, again, really able to pick up their serve receive, able to execute on free balls and easy plays, and they picked up the block. The blocking in this last set was incredible. I think both teams, 6 blocks for Duke and now 5 blocks for Carolina. It's pretty much neck and neck in most ways.
Riley Cato was great at the net. 3 blocks in the middle for Duke. Now we begin set 3. May looks to save it in an early kill. So Taylor Atkinson starts out set 3.
Taylor Atkinson might only have 4 kills on the match, but she's climbing up there, and it's helping Duke become a little bit more dynamic and not just relying on Gracie Johnson for kills.
Jolene Nagel noted early in the year, Taylor was learning to play multiple rotations, not just the front row, and the more reps she can get, I figure it'd be huge for her growth as a freshman.
Exactly, and you do have to expect some freshman mistakes and some freshman isms. Anytime you have someone in their first year, college volleyball is very different from club. It's a lot faster. You go from playing teams that maybe have 1 rock star to everybody on the whole team is a rock star.
Mabry Schaffmaster, one of the best in the ACC, hits that wide. She's a kill and 2 digs away from a double-double, and we're only in the 3rd set.
A lot of volleyball left.
Service errors continue to be an issue for Duke, now 7.
Yeah, both the opening points for Carolina have been straight from those service errors. So it doesn't give them much opportunity to score if you're Duke.
Anita Babbage puts one right back into the net, and I think that halftime break may have been tough for both.
Yeah, they're kind of evening it out.
You hate as a coach, though, to give away so many free points with how tight this match has been.
I know. At least it's early on in the game. If you're going to give up some free points, I'd rather it be, when it's 3-2 instead of 23-22.
Babbage goes to Schaffmaster. That's a dynamic duo. And Mabry now in double figures.
Absolutely breaking Gracie Johnson's platform in the back. I mean, she just hits such a heavy ball right in the gap. If you're Duke's middle blockers, you need to do a little bit of a better job figuring out how to close the block against her. What
really tight set.
Ooh.
Even her overpasses are hard swings for Schaffmaster.
Yes.
Nothing is soft from Mabry. Like that swing in the middle, Mogridge on the board with 4 kills.
Again, looking at the stats right here in front of us, you can see how much more balanced Carolina's offense has been. And it really does make a difference, especially when I was a libero in college. It's much easier to plant on one girl. You know what you're going to get. You start to figure it out. Whereas if you have to worry about
what
everybody,
a win at the net.
Wow.
Pardon me. Nigo jumps in there.
That was fantastic. And again, this is the rotation. This is one of the stronger rotations for Carolina.
Hate to break up your conversation on liberos, but when someone plays it at the net.
It's too good.
Good dig by the Duke libero there on the serve. And Johnson tips it over the wall. That is called down, so point Blue Devils.
I thought he was going to leave it for a second because sometimes the up ref, you know, they don't always have the best view. They can get obstructed sometimes by the players, so I wasn't sure if he was going to be able to see that.
These are two scrappy clubs that have to lean into that identity a little bit today.
Yeah, I wonder what they're going to be working on in the next practice. I bet you it's going to be serving.
Which is funny because we asked Jolene Nagel, Duke's second in the conference in serving, how much do you emphasize that? And she said, not very much. We do our 5 minutes at the start, 5 minutes at the end. Joe Segula very similarly. They don't spend extra time on serving.
I'd say that's pretty par. I've had several college coaches, and pretty much all of them, with very few exception, typically just do a little bit of serving. You know, you're all Division I athletes. It's like if you don't have your serve down at this point, it's all about the fine tuning.
Great swing down line for Nigo. The grad transfer from Notre Dame is heating up at the right time.
She's been kind of quiet that first set and then kind of started to heat up that second set and has been a complete menace. It's been really fun to watch.
8 kills on 20 swings from Nigo. She came off a double-double on Friday night. Now Babbage goes backside. Oh, that goes into the net. First swing for Carly Peck, the Charlotte native. She's a senior, her first rotation.
It looks like both teams are playing a little bit like chickens with their heads cut off. It seems very, very tense. I think both teams just need a big, relaxing breath.
Did you go to the State Fair this weekend?
I did last night, actually.
Oh, that's great timing, because, yeah, there's some great rooster and chicken shows. Not that we use those for this demonstration, as Nigo gets her 9th kill.
Yeah, I could have saved, what is it, $13 and just watched some of this set.
Great volleyball here in the triangle. Both North Carolina and Duke defeated NC State this week. So this is kind of the matchup for the home area, home turf, if you will.
And they just pulled Johnson back into serve receive, and we can see why. That was an electric serve.
That's a really tight set that's flipped over and down. A left-handed scoop touch by Nigo.
I know. I thought that he might call her on that because, again,
like
sometimes, yeah, when you reach underhand, it's very rare they don't call it. Again, sometimes it's just a knee-jerk reaction from the up ref, but I don't think it was illegal.
Gracie Johnson smacks one into May, the libero for UNC, and it leads to a kill on the slide from Merkler.
One-on-one situation. That was a really nice counterflow set, utilizing the whole court, and that's tough.
Timeout, Duke, as North Carolina comes out swinging in set 3. We'll take the break as well here on ACC Network Extra. This is the Haley Schaffmaster special so far from Mabry. 9th double-double of the year. 10 kills, 10 digs. What a great week. Dominates NC State in straight sets and playing well here today. As Johnson does the same, she now has 12 kills. Make it 13 right there. And how vital will that be for Duke? Not a lot of roster availability, and Johnson's the big outside hitter.
It's absolutely pivotal, especially because the next highest number of kills is 6 by Richardson. So they're relying heavily on how she can produce from the outside.
Duke has leaned on Gracie all year, and the block helps out. There's Atkinson.
Dickinson did a great job funneling that back into the court. And that's a really tough ball to cover. If you're Carolina, you're taught when you do coverage, right? When someone on your team is hitting, to squeeze in and be ready for maybe a softball or a ball that comes straight down at you. You can't really do a lot if it goes deep into the court like that.
Chang tight to the net, and Johnson jousted it down. Now Duke in transition.
Underwood was not going to get beat on that dump again.
That is ruled out. No touch of the net. I love a volleyball player's ability to shake off every point. And you see Gracie there resetting herself.
It's pivotal. It's pivotal. I mean, you're going to play a minimum of 25 plays in a game. So if you're worried about the one before, you're not going to get very far.
Her 99th career match today. Sort of fitting with this matchup, Duke and Carolina.
And so this is a tough rotation right here. We see that Johnson, who has the most kills for Duke right now, is in the back row. And then we see Schaffmaster just now getting to the front row for Carolina. So this could potentially be a little bit of trouble for Duke on the point production side.
So Richardson comes in. That's blocked in. Good hands by the Tar Heels. As a team, 6 blocks.
And Richardson is still playing well. I mean, she's hitting a 250, which is all you can ask from a pin hitter. Well, now down to a 188, which is still not bad for a pin hitter at all. It's just tough when, you know,
there's only so many options at the pin.
Yeah, the block knows that she's going to get the ball. They're going to camp on her and they're going to block.
Another 2-block attack that's terminated. Mogridge got her paws on it.
Underwood really needs to figure out when those out-of-system plays occur. Who else can I set? Can I toss it behind me? Can I dump it as a libero? I mean, get excited and do something a little bit different.
Is Johnson from the back row an option on those scramble plays?
Absolutely, but it depends how much she's talking to. Ooh, that was right on the line.
Great serve by Parker Austin.
Because as a libero, you're running up to save that ball. The easiest thing is your momentum is taking you to the outside. So for you to chunk it behind and not to the right side, but to the back court, you need to have a lot of communication. And Johnson genuinely just might not want that ball.
Good touch by the middle, and it's down for a kill. Stavronidis, we noticed the middles for Duke. 11 kills. Actually, pardon me, 2 kills for Stavronidis. Read the numbers wrong there. But any kill she can get is big in that middle rotation.
Absolutely.
These are the 2 best serving teams in the ACC in terms of aces per set. And Johnson tools the block.
Great swing.
Because for players at home, it's not all about touching the floor every time. It's finding ways to get points.
Exactly. That's a great way to tool it. I would say even if Underwood could get that pass on that easy ball. Wow, great ace. A little bit tighter to the net to get the middle involved. It's been a hot second since we've seen Duke's middle get involved, and it's making the offense really myopic and easy to read.
That's our SAT word of the day here from Haley Brooke Weiss. Another ace.
Ooh.
Oh, wait, no, that was kept in play. My apologies.
You jinxed it.
Chang looks for a quick point, and Richardson hits the top of the video board.
Still playable, still playable.
Good note. Dumped down, and Babbage closes it out.
Carolina has just done such a fantastic job with those freaky, out-of-system plays, whether it's hitting the Jumbotron or somebody out in the crowd. They do a great job calming it down and making the next touch better. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Johnson had to switch up her option on that return and hits it into the net.
That's a really tough angle to swing on.
That's a 20-foot approach.
It's a tough angle. It's coming from behind you, over your shoulder.
But you don't want to just bump set it over either.
Exactly.
Have to make the opponent earn it, as that serve from Babbage goes right into the net. Every time Carolina looks to pull away on this third set, Duke has come crawling back.
And now we have Chang front row, which is Duke's setter. So there's no right side now. So their offense really has become more myopic than ever. So it's going to be really important for her to get the middle involved.
Sydney Yap with a elusive serve. There's Richardson. Had the block come late, but
Looks like she hit the pin. I thought it was her hitting the net, but I guess it must have hit the pin. Let's take a look.
Oh,
Yep.
It did hit the antenna. Okay.
It did. In the broadcast booth, we are directly across from that, so it's a little hard to tell. Wow.
That is called
Just
out.
Saved by the bell.
That's the same reaction from Sydney Epp. She goes, wait, that was out? I'll take the point.
Sometimes you just got to turn and hope.
And these teams return service errors. That has to be frustrating, right? You earn the point with the error, and you give it right back.
I mean, it kind of takes the wind out of your sails, so to speak. So again, here we have the 4-man serve receive for Duke set up.
With Chang all on an island, but Richardson has to bump set.
Carolina a little out of sorts, but still in system.
Chang, a quick set into the net. And Duke in this third set is hitting just above 0. Carolina's hitting 294. That forces a timeout by Jolene Nagel. What adjustment have you seen from Carolina? Because they clearly have made it hard for Duke to score.
I think Carolina has just started serving really tough. It's been really, really difficult for Duke to get a solid pass. But also, they've really shut down Richardson. So in the rotations that Richardson, number 3 outside, 6 rotation outside hitter for Duke, is up, what they do a great job of is shutting her down. They've gotten several blocks against her so far. They've caused her to make several errors. So now they just really have to worry about now coming up Gracie Johnson's rotations. And so really going into this set and the next set, what they're going to need to do is capitalize when Gracie Johnson is up and get the ball to the middle, get the ball to the right side, get other people involved in those plays.
It's a neat day in the ACC conference. There's nationally ranked matchups. Pitt's leading Louisville 2 sets. Louisville's won 33 straight ACC matchups. That would be a heck of a win for the Pitt Panthers. And then some matchups more in the middle of the region. I think that Wake-Florida State game can be really good. Florida State leads 2 sets, none. That's pretty early.
Looks like all tight scores, 17-25, 20-25, 3-6 right now. But I'm very interested in that Louisville-Pitt game.
And then the matchup for third place, Georgia Tech-Syracuse. Well, the Yellow Jackets with Mariana Brambila, they are dominating. The leader in points in the ACC. 2-set lead for the Yellow Jackets. See, we saved you the trouble of skipping through all the channels on ACC Network Extra. You just get the scores and you stay here.
Right?
Got to keep the ratings up.
We do what we can.
We're like weather people during hurricanes. You stick with us 24/7.
I love it. I love it. Let's take a look where we're at. So we have a new middle up for Carolina. We got May serving. It's a good rotation. Ooh.
That is allowed to play. Sometimes the middles get called for that.
Well, she didn't get called for it because Chang is front row these rotations. So if Chang was back row, she probably would have been called on it, the middle for Carolina. But because she's front row, it's kind of considered a joust situation.
Yeah, it's that rule of verticality. You have to let the setter go up for it. By the way, joust is my favorite volleyball word.
Favorite word or favorite thing to do?
Well, that or pancakes. I like both. As Schaffmaster blasts one from the back row.
I love that she makes herself relevant no matter where she is on the court. Let's take a look. And it almost looked like they were going to set the middle, which I think made it so deceiving because it didn't look like Duke's defense really adjusted for a backcourt attack.
And Johnson responds, gets a touch in the back row. 11 kills for Schaffmaster, 14 for Johnson. Did you get your money's worth yet, Haley?
I think we did. $3.99.
As a former libero at Wake Forest, she saw plenty of these big hitters for Duke and Carolina. Schaffmaster can score from anywhere. That's the 10-foot line for the point.
And again, that's what makes her so lethal. And Duke's defense really wasn't set up for it. I think they were ready for kind of an easy out-of-system ball. And she's very deceiving because her approach isn't always super aggressive, big, strong. Sometimes it's just kind of hoppy, and she has a heavy arm, and she puts it down.
I think of her and Paulina Shimanova of Syracuse, 2 of the hardest hitters in this conference. And the dump set is down. Good left hand from Georgia Stavronidis.
I love seeing the aggression. I think if you're going to make a mistake, make it an aggressive one. And now we finally have Chang in the back row. 3 options. You have Johnson up front. These should be some really good rotations for Duke.
UNC 3 points from set 2. And that slide is blasted in.
Wow, I thought it was going to be a little wide.
Jolene Nagel does have a challenge remaining, and it looks like she won't use it.
Yep, it looks like they're just focused on getting back into serve receive. Let's take a look. Let's see. Yep.
That does look in.
That's in, that's in.
And no Duke player will ever admit that's in, right? I mean, you know that it's a defender.
Right?
You always say, oh, coach, it was out.
You just shake your head.
Yeah.
Because you never know.
UNC hitting 380 in this third set. Holding Duke below 100.
What a great pass. Love seeing the middle involved.
There's
love
Stavridis.
That.
We noted her ability to have an impact. 4 kills today.
4 kills, hitting 182, but even if your middle isn't, blasting and hitting 500, they still are helping the pin hitters hit higher hitting percentages because they're able to pull the block.
And the block for Stavridis.
It's rare we see Staffmaster get shut down. Shaftmaster gets shut down. Look at that.
Wow.
A great close. Hands tilted into the court.
17 blocks for Duke tonight, and an ace adds to it.
Duke will not go quietly into this third set, and again,
timeout North Carolina.
That's what makes them so fun to watch.
Anything less? After Duke flat out dominated set 2, Carolina was in a similar trend here in the third set. And we noted UNC 1 loss this year when winning that first set. It was last Sunday. How does Duke capitalize on that maybe little momentum here in this set?
I think whether or not they lose this set, they need to do exactly what they did in the first set, which is finish really strong and come out popping in that fourth set. Come out swinging, come out passing well, come out with a spread offense. Because again, looking at Duke's stats, the kills go 14, then 7, 6, 5, 4, 1. We need to get that closer to 14, 11-ish, right? Get Richardson into the play, get Atkinson in, get Cattle in, get other players into the game, and give something for Carolina's defense to have to think about. Because if you're not making decisions anymore on your defense, then it becomes easy. You don't have to think about anything. Whereas we look over here at Carolina, their kills go 12, 10, 6, 4, 2, 1. It's such a spread offense that even though not everyone who's putting up kills has a great hitting percentage right now, it's still forcing the blockers and the defense to have to make decisions on Duke's side of the court.
Let's focus on the key pin hitters for these two, Mabry Shaftmaster and Gracie Johnson. The kill numbers are high, but the efficiency of Shaftmaster is vital.
Shaftmaster has been incredible this match, not only from in front of the 10-foot line, but from behind it. Whether she's serving, whether she's getting a back row attack, she's able to convert and put herself into plays, especially when they're broken. She's able to convert. Whereas Johnson, I think, gets a little quiet in the back row sometimes, and then Richardson gets into a little bit of trouble. It makes things very, very difficult for the Blue Devils.
Which means she has 3 rotations to score. Duke has won 3 straight points late in the set. That was a great set by Chang, and it results in a kill. You have the threat of the middle and Stavridis, and then Richardson put it down.
Love that by Richardson. It looks like she's starting to heat up a little bit again. She's up to a .091 hitting percentage. She was at a 250 earlier in the match, had a little bit of strings of getting blocked, but again, it's tough if the pass isn't there. You can only set the outside, and everybody in the gym knows it. What a block by her.
Mogridge tries it again, and Johnson frees it back in. Richardson, though, into the net. Set point, Carolina.
Again, it's tough. Poor Richardson has had so many attempts. I mean, looking down here, she's had 23 attempts, which, looking at the stats again, we have Gracie Johnson with 41 attempts. So they are relying so heavily on those pin hitters, and it can be really tough when you have an out-of-system ball to put it down.
Set point into the net. Remember, Carrie Keefe.
That's the second time Carolina's done that.
Yeah, they found a way in the first set to pull it out, but it was tight, 25-23. Duke is without a key outside threat and Kerry Keefe, but they do get back Taylor Atkinson. This undermanned Blue Devil club facing set point for Carolina. And the roll shot for Schaffmaster secures it. Her 13th kill gives the Tar Heels a 2-1 set lead.
Smart play.
One of the best scorers in the ACC. Mabry Schaffmaster putting on a show, and we have a Sunday trait for you. Carolina leads Duke 2-1. Much like the Duke band, every day we're shuffling here in Cameron Indoor. Look at those guys having some fun.
I know, they got the moves. They're bringing some good energy for the Blue Devils.
One of the best rivalries in college athletics. And here we are in the fourth set. Carolina leads 2-1. And immediately on the slide, Kaya Merkler scores.
It's tough to serve the libero. I mean, May has done such a great job really putting the Tar Heels in system.
You noted during the timeout that Joe Segula was really chatting with his setter, Anita Babic, about who to feed, when to find them.
Yes, it looked like there's a lot of pointing, but looked like he was pointing to Mogridge, who's number 18. She's hitting a 444 tonight, which is really insanely high with only 9 attempts. So he's probably saying, get our middles more involved, especially if that free ball had been in. I bet you we're going to get some free balls fed to her.
Carolina with a 2-point start. This is a big stretch for the Tar Heels. They can create some separation in this fourth set. You'd hate to go 5 as the road team and face a fired-up Duke crowd as there's a block from Mogridge. 18 blocks for the Tar Heels.
I know. I was trying to tell if that was block or net, but it must have been block. It was kind of close.
They might give her a half point there. Half net, half Mogridge.
In the ACC, you don't really get away with hitting close to the tape.
So Johnson blasts one to the back, and first point for Duke.
Fantastic, fantastic swing by Richardson. I like that she's kind of finding the deeper diagonal of the court. It's a further angle, and I think it gives her a little bit more to work with court-wise.
May with the overpass on the save. She has to hustle back to her spot. And Richardson's roof by Mogridge.
That is tough. And normally, you know, looking at the matchup, you had Babic, the setter for Carolina, up there. Normally you want to hit at the setter if you're the outside hitter. But really, Babic right now is leading the team with 5 blocks. So maybe not so much.
Overpass terminated. What a rally from Mogridge.
Mogridge is about to get more kills from the overpasses. Let's take a look. She did a great job reading it.
That's like putting a blooming onion on a platter. I'm going to eat that thing up all night.
What a pass.
So Babic goes back to her middle and a kill. Good response from the freshman setter.
I love seeing the middle be forced into the play. Again, it was great that that resulted in a kill, but even if it hadn't, it really just spreads the offense and it opens up those pins so much. We can see both teams seem to really want to involve their middles more than ever, even if it's forced.
May with a dig, then Babic saves it. That was a nice play by Carolina. And the tip shot finds the floor. It's a big point for Duke.
The tips are starting to become increasingly effective. I don't know if that's because people are getting tired or there's been so many big swings all game. You kind of start leaning back, ready to kind of get pegged.
Well, second match of the week. Carolina 1-3 on Friday. Duke on Wednesday night defeated NC State in 4. Babic goes backside, and Johnson gets a hand on it. Down for the kill. Mogridge in this set. 3 kills and a block.
Yeah, I think we assessed the timeout, or excuse me, the in-between sets pretty correctly, that they wanted to feed her the ball. I mean, at this point, she's hitting a 583. I would be setting her every ball as well.
Make Duke commit more numbers to it. Good point. Schaffmaster off the net. Johnson headed it back in play.
Oh, just over.
Babic in transition. Now Chang. Richardson off the head of the UNC blocker, Carly Peck.
Knocked her headband clean off. That is too funny.
At least it didn't hit her in the face, but it is a point for Duke.
You know you're getting high on your block when they knock your headband off.
Richardson can jump out of the building. She has the highest vertical, can touch 11 feet for the Blue Devils. Good hands there by Duke. Cadle. Whoa.
Wow.
You see the flip of the wrist for Mayberry.
Okay, what we saw there was the defense on a free ball from Duke. That's why there was like nobody on the court. And
as Waka Flocka Flame would say, flick it, flick it, flick it,
flick of the wrist. And you can't just go for the free ball defense against Shaftmaster because she is always in system.
That is ruled out. So Carolina up 6 in this 4th set. You wonder if you're Jolene Nagel when that timeout will be used here.
I'd say soon. This set is do or die.
And the timeout call. We'll take the break. North Carolina on the verge of a 4-set win. We'll have the rest of it when we come back. North Carolina surging early in set 4. 5 kills, no errors for the Tar Heels. And that's a happy group led by Joe Segula in his 33rd year. UNC is not out of the playoff picture just yet at 4-5 in the ACC, but they have some work to do with a performance like tonight.
Yeah, this game is going to be really, really important, especially looking at Duke's RPI. This is not a game they can afford to lose.
UNC comes in 64th in RPI, and that shot is long. Duke struggling to hit in this set. 5 errors for the Blue Devils.
I know. Currently, they're at a negative .091 in hitting percentage, and it's pretty much impossible to win when your hitting percentage is that low. So they definitely need to see a little bit of an improvement.
Duke in transition with Johnson, and she hits the tool of the block. So Gracie's up to 15 kills, and this rotation, a lot of swings for Johnson up front.
Her arm's going to be real sore. She's going to be icing it tonight. She already has 42 attempts, which second most attempts is 27. So statistically speaking, she's getting a big chunk of the pie.
Apple pie, banana cream?
We'll have to find out.
Hey, but this matchup,
Winner's pie?
blueberry pies. There's a dump set
Oh.
kill for Babbage. Puts the cherry on top of that point. Anita Babbage has played really well in this match. She has 34 assists and has found her middle and outside hitters pretty well.
I was going to say, I love seeing the adjustment of her talking to coach and putting it into effect of her really getting the middle involved. She forces it sometimes, and again, I'm all for forcing the middle because sometimes
Whoa,
you
saved
can't wait.
by Johnson, and that's
Wow.
freed over. Mogridge blocked!
Wow. Good for her.
Stavronidis the roof.
Fantastic read on the block. She did a great job pressing and being aggressive and staying locked in. Loved seeing that. Wow.
Look at that reaction. The junior middle blocker out of Cyprus. I love that.
I like a knee tuck reaction. That's awesome. Ooh.
Babbage tight to the net. Lost the joust.
That's a great out of system set. Setter's out. Gonna be real out of system.
Johnson hits it off the body.
Everybody wanted that.
And a net violation on Carolina.
I could have seen that going a couple of different ways. It looked like everybody was almost in the net at one point.
It is the first to touch it. That's the important factor.
Yes. But no green card, so it seems like that must have been the right call.
Each team with 1 challenge remaining. You get an extra challenge if you go 5 sets. Mogridge off the net and the hands. What a 4th set for Kaya Merkler.
Again, it's been great to see the offense really get spread out, see different players getting involved. I mean, we could have multiple players for Carolina in the double digits for kills.
Right now, Shaftmaster and Nigo in double figures. A few more with 7+. Oh, and a spiked play. Great pipe shot.
Maybe this is the libero in me, but the Nigo May crossover dig, that's textbook. Perfect dig, amazing transition to conversion.
That's 6 kills for either middle for Carolina in this set.
Which is really good. It is tough to get the middle involved. That's why I'm harping on it a lot, but we can see how efficient it is, clearly.
Stavronidis joins the party with a kill. She's coming off a 5-kill performance against NC State, but hit below 100. Bouncing back better today, 230 hit percentage.
Ooh.
Tough serve receive and an ace for the Blue Devils. Duke comes in with aces, 1.8 per set, second in the conference behind Carolina.
And that's 3 for Gracie Johnson just this match.
6 aces as a team for the Blue Devils. Those are important points.
What a pass.
That shot wide, and Duke's back within 4.
Yeah, that set was really low. It was kind of flung back there. There wasn't a whole lot Merkler was going to be able to do with that. You can see Joe kind of talking to her.
Continues to target Schaffmaster. And a great dig by Johnson. Babbage left-handed dug out by Gracie.
That was almost very lethal.
But Richardson hits the antenna.
Richardson doing her best tonight to battle out. Again, Duke with so many injuries maybe doesn't have the depth on the bench to get a sub in there or someone who can help relieve her even just for a few plays.
Just 8 players have appeared. So you sub for your libero, that's about it. 1 or 2 extra hitters in the middle.
Yeah, she's looking at 10 kills, but also 10 errors. So for every kill, you're also costing your team a point, and that can be really difficult.
Parker Austin, who's a serving specialist, leads the ACC in aces. She has 4 errors, no aces tonight. That's just an odd stat.
That is an odd stat.
For someone who's so good on the service line, leads the conference in aces.
But, you know, the team probably prepared for that, and that might have been something that they looked at in film. I remember in college, if there was a really great server, we watched her serve, we practiced passing against her serve, so they might have overcompensated a little bit.
And it leads to a hitting error for Schaffmaster. After the red-hot start, Carolina was hitting in the 400s during our first time out. They've settled back down to 208. And here's Duke down 8-3. They've climbed back within 3.
It's definitely a game.
And then Schaffmaster quiets it with her 15th kill. So in that 5-set loss Carolina suffered against Syracuse, she had 8 kills in the first set. The next 4, she only had 4 kills. And that's how Syracuse pulled it out in 5. Great one-on-one swing. Taylor Atkinson climbs the ladder.
I always felt like it's better to be consistently good than inconsistently great. And I think the best players are the ones who kind of have a nice equilibrium and the standard deviation of their performance is pretty minimal.
Schaffmaster rolls it over and down. We noted her 9th double-double earlier tonight. She's up to 16 kills and 11 digs.
Almost every one of her tips/roll shots have, you know, made it to the floor. If I'm Carolina, they have that right back person pulled up just for those tips and rolls. It's time to wake them up a little bit. If you're Duke.
Wake me up when September ends, as we're deep into the month of October. There's a kill for Richardson.
Within 3. And now we're back into that really strong rotation where we have Johnson up front, setters front row, so you have, you know, some slide capabilities with the middle, could run some fast-tempoed stuff behind the head.
And Babbage goes quick tempo to Mogridge. 8 kills, and 6 of them have come in this set.
I told you they really have been looking to get the middles involved, and we can see why. They do a great job. They're more likely to be in one-on-one situations. They're going to open up the pins.
Whoa!
Wow.
Riley Cadle with the facial.
Yeah, I want to see where that hit her, because she took it like a champ.
Oh, right in the belly. Now, Haley, you just squirmed when you saw that as a libero.
I know, it's the worst. I always hated when the outside hitter leaves line on the block, you're in left back defending the line, and you get blown up. It's geometrically, you're so close to that hitter, it's really tough to react.
And you're playing for a tip, a roll shot. You're not expecting that ball to get blasted in your face.
Certainly not. It's not ideal. It's not ideal.
Johnson skies up. Schaffmaster saved it, and a point for the Blue Devils.
I love seeing May lay out for that ball, and the Blue Devils can't relax because they might get it. They've done a great job being able to get those scrappy out-of-system plays that you think are dead. Look at that.
Love
that's
the effort.
Inches away. from this rally still going.
Maddie May, a true freshman at that libero position, stepping up for her team. Chang with a deep serve. And the slide tools the block. Carolina's 6 points from the match.
I love that play. It's kind of between like a slide and a b-ball where it's a wide set, so it kind of gets away from the Blue Devils' middle, but it's so fast that the outside hitter can't really come in and help with the block.
Chang, a quick tempo set. And Stavronidis, when she gets involved in the middle, it's impressive. Another kill.
These rotations are starting to go really fast. We already have Johnson back in the back row.
Timeout, North Carolina.
And her serve's been really lethal. They probably want to ice her serve a little bit. She has 3 service aces. Of the team's 6 service aces.
So if Duke's going to mount a comeback in this 4th set, they clearly need Gracie Johnson to continue. But you noted the secondary hitters, the other options for the Blue Devils. Early in this match, it's been Richardson and Johnson doing a ton of the work. But here tonight's the big number. When the Blue Devils hit over 200, they win all the time. Right now, they're below that magic number.
They're, for the full match, they're at a 177. So they're really close. They're really, really close to getting that number up. And it's totally possible if they're able to get a little service run here out of Johnson, do a good job involving some of the other hitters, maybe get Atkinson back in. She was really great in that first set. Haven't seen a whole lot from her since then. So I think if they're able to get her involved, especially while Gracie Johnson's in the back row, and getting Gracie Johnson involved since she's in the back row, right? You can still set her out of system, because I think when you're only feeding Richardson on the outside, everybody in the gym knows it's going to her. She's gotten blocked several times. She's hitting a 0. And it's tough, and it's not entirely her fault because she's getting so many balls. You can only do so much with it. We got to get a little more creative as a setter.
Gracie Johnson has played lights out in the last 2 weeks. Duke has ended up winning because of that. Back-to-back home wins over Clemson and NC State. It's been a tough team to beat here in Cameron. 10-2 record at home for Duke. But now it gets amped up a bit in this 4th set. Carolina on the verge of a 4-set win.
Great pass.
Schaffmaster terminates. She's up to 17.
And that's exactly what Carolina wanted to do. You're staring in the face of someone who is the 2021 lead AC, someone who led the ACC in aces. You need to convert quickly off of that first ball.
Deep serve targets Johnson. And Richardson hits the net and the floor. That's a creative shot, because if it doesn't touch in, that's out. That's a good big point.
That is a really sharp hit, but that's not something that's totally unusual for her. Like you mentioned, she can touch 11 feet, which is basically the height of the pin. So she can hit angles that we're not going to see from a whole lot of people on the court today.
What a 4th set for Liv Mogridge, up to 9 kills.
She has been absolutely electric. Let's take a look. It looks like she's hitting a 571. Excuse me, it just went up to a 600. So that's 9 kills, 0 errors on 15 attempts.
Keep in mind the nation's leader in hit percentage, Jess Robinson, a middle for Michigan, hits .498. So that number is elite today. Good block at the net, and the fellow middle with the touch, and Cadle.
We jinxed her. We should have waited.
The nature of our business, Haley.
Right? Too good, too good. And that will be her first error of the day.
Not bad. 9 kills, 1 error.
Yeah, I think if you make it to the 4th set with no errors, you're doing pretty good.
Important serve here for Sydney Yap. Babbage goes middle. Left-handed touch dug out.
Great dig.
And the block goes out. So point Duke.
I loved that set. It was so quick. And they're really able to utilize that block. And it's tough to tool the block as a middle hitter, because to tool, right, you're hitting, hoping it goes off the blocker and out. But when they're in the middle, you have a whole lot more room. You need that ball to fly.
Roll shot, scooped out. Overpass, put down.
That's what Schaffmaster does. If you're a defender, you need to be ready for her to be aggressive, because if she's going to err, she's going to err being aggressive.
Carolina 3 points from the match, and their leader, Mabry Schaffberry, to serve.
Great pass. Ooh.
No touch at the net.
That set was a little flingy.
And that'll force a timeout for Jolene Nagel. The resolve of a Tar Heels team that just swept NC State on Friday night. Duke's come storming back, and now UNC has to weather that storm here late.
It's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out in these last few points, because Duke is going to fight tooth and nail. This is a really close game. I mean, at this point, it's can you get 2 points before Duke gets 6 points? So it's very, very possible we might be looking at a 5th set today if Duke is really able to take care of that first pass off of Schaffmaster's serve. Potentially, you can see they're trying to get the middle involved. It didn't go the way that they wanted it to go, so I wouldn't be surprised if they decided to go ahead and give it to a pin, someone that they're a little bit more comfortable with. But it's really just going to come down to that first pass and can they execute.
A Carolina squad that gears up for a heavy stretch of ACC play versus number 10 Georgia Tech. That's a really good team in Georgia Tech. And then you end the year in November against top 2 Louisville. So if you want RPI victories, this next stretch for North Carolina is crucial.
I know, how weird, you have Louisville twice there at the end. So you have some time for game planning and reviewing film and then right back at it.
Duke, meanwhile, a road stretch coming up at Louisville. Some winnable games with Virginia Tech and Boston College, but you need to win those games to get back towards 500.
Exactly. It's, again, they're going to be fighting to get there. It's not unusual for teams to hit a nice little stride towards the end. I know we talked to Coach Jolene yesterday, and she had said, I'm really proud of how the team played against Clemson, really proud of how they played against NC State. It just kind of comes in waves.
What an ace by Schaffmaster.
On a defensive specialist as well, who's been, you know, Sydney Yap has been quiet this game, but she's been really strong. She's notched up, 10 digs, which is fantastic as a defensive specialist.
Match point, Carolina. Match is over. Duke hits it wide, and the Tar Heels take it in 4 sets, their 8th win in the last 9 over their rivals, the Duke Blue Devils.
Fantastic day of volleyball. I know that's not the outcome the Blue Devils were hoping to get here in their home court today, but it's definitely going to allow Carolina to make a run, hopefully, to represent the ACC in the NCAA tournament. It's going to be tight. It's going to be dependent on how they perform the rest of the season.
That's a happy Mabry Schaffmaster, who dominates with 18 kills. 3 in double figures for the Tar Heels tonight, and a fun matchup goes 4 sets in favor of UNC. For Haley Brooke Weiss and our talented crew here at Duke, Evan Budrovich signing off. The UNC Tar Heels take it over their in-state rivals in 4 sets.